All right, welcome to a special, fast-paced news brief edition of our Explainer. I'm your host, and right now we're literally tracking a live, split-second digital event as it unfolds across the globe. You know the one, we've all experienced it. But today, we're slowing down the tape. We're going to examine the exact anatomy of a high-security digital connection. Based on the intel we've gathered, we're talking about the unseen, automated border control of the internet. I mean, information is moving at the speed of light, and then suddenly, traffic just halts. We're going to break down exactly what happens when your browser attempts to make contact, gets intercepted, and actually has to mathematically prove its identity before reaching its final destination. So stick with me, because we are analyzing this breaking event millisecond by millisecond.
So here is the breaking situation we're monitoring. 3 simple words. Just a moment. It flashes on your screen, and let's be honest, it instantly triggers this tiny spike of impatience, right? We expect our data instantaneously. But in the context of our daily high-speed digital lives, this phrase isn't just a mild annoyance. No, it is a ubiquitous, mandatory, breaking pause in digital traffic. It's an abrupt, unyielding halt. When we look at the raw data of this connection event, we see this isn't some friendly suggestion to wait. It is a stop sign guarded by heavy digital artillery. Your browser thought it was just cruising down the open highway directly to its target, but suddenly, bam, it gets pulled over at a strict digital checkpoint. The connection is suspended in complete limbo, just waiting for authorization.
Okay, let's dive into this and see what this mandatory pause actually signifies.
Welcome to the digital checkpoint. To really understand what this hold means, we've got to recognize that this isn't a malfunction, and it's not a slow network. It is a highly orchestrated defense mechanism. When a server throws up this wall, it's operating under a strict guilty until proven innocent policy. It's aggressively scanning the incoming connection for automated botnets, malicious traffic patterns, basically anything mathematically out of the ordinary. To truly grasp the sheer processing power here, we've mapped it out on this live tracking timeline. Check this out. At 0.0 seconds, the intercept happens. The hold is initiated with our just a moment warning. A mere half second later, at 0.5 seconds, we are already deep into the verification process. This is where complex cryptographic puzzles are being solved by your browser. Your computer is rapidly calculating mathematical proofs of work and verifying certificates, and it's all completely invisible to you. You're just sitting there waiting, but the security systems are working in absolute overdrive behind the scenes. And finally, assuming the math checks out, by 1.2 seconds, we hit successful clearance. It's a massive amount of interrogation, calculation, and response, all compacted into a timeframe that's literally faster than a human heartbeat.
All right, we just got an update on the situation, shifting from the holding pattern into the successful clearance phase. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how abruptly the digital checkpoint grants a green light. The intel confirms a total binary shift. The timeline has progressed, and those invisible cryptographic puzzles we talked about, they've been definitively solved. The digital interrogators have reviewed the computational credentials of your incoming connection and decided, okay, this poses no threat. On one side, we started with an unknown status, suspicion, pause, total lack of access. But on the flip side, we see the immediate cleared status. The red light turns green with the words verification successful. There's absolutely no middle ground here, guys. You are either an unverified unknown treated as a potential threat, or you are a verified safe entity. The tension of the hold breaks the exact millisecond that second phrase registers on the network.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because there are some critical technical directives required for the connection to actually proceed.
But as our live tracking shows, clearing that initial security scan, that was actually only half the battle. To proceed past the gates, the destination server issues critical, mandatory technical directives. It's not enough to just be verified. Your browser has to prove it has the precise equipment turned on to handle the secure environment it's about to enter. The intel pinpoints 2 exact non-negotiable instructions. Step 1, enable JavaScript. Step 2, enable cookies. Think of these not as, casual requests, but as the required physics of navigating this digital checkpoint. If your browser is a vehicle that just passed a rigorous security screening, well, JavaScript is the functioning engine and transmission that allows it to actually drive forward. Cookies? They're the securely stamped license plates that prove to every toll booth ahead that it is legally allowed to be on the road. Without both of these distinct systems actively engaged, that verification successful status means absolutely nothing. The journey would just end right here. So let's break down that first mandate. Enabling JavaScript is the foundational requirement to keep moving forward. Look, JavaScript isn't just static text. It's the active, dynamic programming code that modern web pages absolutely require to function. By mandating this, the security checkpoint is essentially demanding that your browser proves it's a fully functioning interactive client. It wants to know there's likely a real live user behind the screen, not just some simplistic automated script trying to scrape data or probe for vulnerabilities. It's literally an active test of capability. It is the directive required to allow the necessary active code to run. Simply put, if you can't run the code, you can't cross the border.
And that brings us to the second mandate. So the crucial point is, you just spent 1.2 seconds getting mathematically verified by a global security network. If you don't enable cookies right now, the system suffers immediate amnesia. It has no intrinsic way of remembering that you were just cleared a microsecond ago. A cookie is basically a tiny encrypted packet of data stored on your system that acts as a secure temporary ID badge. It's the directive required to allow the necessary data to be stored to maintain that hard-won verification. Without that digital ID badge pinned to your browser, you'd be stuck in an infinite, maddening loop of just a moment every single time you tried to load an image, click a link, or do literally anything else on the site.
All right, moving into the final phase of our live update here. Technical clearance is granted, but we're basically on standby.
The security checks are passed, the technical mandates of JavaScript and cookies are fully compliant, and the gates are wide open. We are now in the critical handoff phase. The digital border guards have stepped aside, and now we wait for the host's front door to open. The exact status reads, waiting for OpenAI.com to respond, and this brilliantly illustrates the anticipation of finally reaching our specific target. The entire apparatus of the internet has worked to clear a path, filtering out the noise and ensuring safety, just so this precise connection can be made. It is the quiet, unseen moment of the TCP/IP handshake, happening right after the security alarm bells have stopped ringing, and right before the requested information finally pours onto your screen.
Which brings us to the end of our breaking coverage of this digital checkpoint. We've tracked the mandatory pause, the intense cryptographic verification, the strict technical demands, and that final standby handoff. But I want to leave you with this thought as we sign off. What actually happens in those final, unseen milliseconds before a massive server like OpenAI.com finally responds to a cleared connection? Just think about the complex data structures, the massive databases, and the AI models being queried and assembled in the dark, right before the page renders flawlessly before your eyes. The next time you see just a moment, remember the massive, high-speed global security operation happening right behind your screen. Thanks for joining this news brief edition of our Explainer. Keep analyzing the unseen world around you, and we'll see you next time.